I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love.
What's good, y'all? It's your big homie, the armchair operator, and today I got a special versus for y'all. So originally I was just going to do a 1v1 versus between the SIG X10 and the Smith & Wesson M&P 10mm Performance Center, but then we had a new challenger enter the chat, and that new challenger is going to be the Glock Gen 5 MOS. So now not only do we have two 10 mics, we got three 10 mics going up against each other head to head. So I had to include it in this comparison, and this is going to be the first three-way versus on the channel. So I have to do things a little bit differently, like as far as the scoring and all that, which I'll get to that in a little bit when we go down to break down the different categories and, you know, how different categories for each gun. So I'm gonna get to that. So things gonna flow a little bit differently. So I just wanted to put that out there and let y'all know. But anyway, enough of that yik yak, enough of that talking. It's time to get down to business. So let's head on over to the review space. Okay, everybody, here we are. We are at the review space, and we got our three contenders here. So before we get started with anything, we're going to check each firearm, make sure they're clear. So as you can see, the SIG is clear, the magazine is empty, chamber is empty, and that particular gun is safe. Far as the M&P, same deal. Chamber is empty, magazine is empty, and the gun is also clear. And for the Glock is also empty, magazine is empty, the gun is clear. So, and as a disclaimer, as always, we are filming in a safe, controlled environment. There is no live ammunition anywhere in my review space. So, for starters, I had to redo the scoring system a bit because this is the first three-way versus. So the categories are going to be the same as usual. Features, accessories, ammo capacity, ergonomics, portability, concealability, shootability, reliability, disassembly, aftermarket support, MSRP, and the value for your money. However, now portability and concealability is going to be considered 1 point each instead of a half a point, as well as shootability and reliability. Now, essentially the way it's going to work is if whichever gun is the clear winner in the category, it's going to get the point for that category. The losers will not get a point. In the event of a tie, it is possible for a point to be awarded to 2 out of the 3, provided that the third one completely comes up short in the category, period. And if all 3 ties, then there won't be any points awarded. So I know it sounds a little bit strange, but like I said, I had to do things a little bit differently because we're doing a 3-way versus instead of just a standard 1v1. All right, so with that out of the way, we're going to start where I always like to start, and we're going to start with the features, and we're going to blow through this really quick. So the point in the features category, in my opinion, goes to the Smith & Wesson 10mm Performance Center. And here's the reasons why. First of all, we're going to start with the sights. The sights for the Smith 10mm are the raised suppressor height night sights. They are really good. They are metal. The second thing is we have the 5.6-inch ported barrel. So in case you guys did not know, this barrel is ported both at the top here as well as the slide. Now, fun fact, the rifling in the barrel only goes out to about the 5-inch mark. The rest of this, where the ports are, is pretty smooth. So it's basically just a built-in compensator for all intents and purposes. But that is basically that. The other thing is the Performance Center trigger. This Performance Center trigger is really good. So I'll just ghost it for you real quick. That's the brake. And that's the reset. See, it's really short, very tactile, very good. So overall, the feature set for the 10mm Performance Center is just better in my opinion. You got the good slide serrations here. Now granted, the one thing where this kind of fails in a bit is the front side serration department, where both the SIG and the Glock Gen 5 both have front and rear slash serrations, but the slash serrations on both guns are not very deep, whereas on the M&P they're nice and aggressive, and you have these little ledges here in the back you can really grip it. Now with the Glock, because of the finish of the Glock slide, these tend to get a bit slippery to me, but I mean, they're usable. Press checking from the front is a little bit more difficult with the Glock Gen 5 just because of that strong recoil spring. The gun is still practically new. I haven't put a whole lot of rounds through it, so that could be a reason too. But again, slide serration department, my opinion, goes to the M&P. Now, trigger also goes to the M&P. So that's the basic reason why I'm giving the point to the M&P in this category. But just to put it out there, the SIG has nice X-ray night sights. You know, they're really good. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but they're good. You know, they get the job done. Glock sights are, well, just Glock sights. They get the job done. Most people don't like them, myself included, but they'll get the job done. But the features category goes to the Smith & Wesson. Next, we're going to talk about accessories, and for this portion, I basically just laid out all the accessories on the table that comes with each particular firearm. And, well, let's just look at the enormous pink elephant in the room. SIG X10 doesn't come with any accessories, really. It basically just comes with the mags, and I believe the trigger lock, and that's it. So that loses already from the rip. So let's focus on the M&P and the Glock. So between these two, I have to give the point for the accessories over to the M&P. Here's why. These wraparound grip panels. Now, these panels to me are just simply better than the backstrap system on the Glock. I like the fact that these panels actually give you not only a beaver tail if you get the large one, but it also gives you a bit of a palm swell. And that's one thing I think a lot of manufacturers kind of miss when they're devising the grips of their guns. Because I have larger hands, I like a deeper palm swell. It really helps me to get a proper shooting grip on the gun. And that really helps out in the ergonomics category, which we'll get to in a little bit. But not only that, we also have more optics plates here. So you have more options as far as the optics mounting system when it comes to the M&P. Now, granted, I know they're polymer. And if I'm quite honest, with the 10mm caliber, I really don't think these are going to hold up all that well versus, say, the metal MOS plate that the Glock Gen 5s have. So, and even though I've heard a lot of stories about these plates not being very reliable either, but I seriously doubt with the force of the 10mm round if these will hold up. But I don't know. I really haven't tested that, but you know, I just basically overall like the grip panels of the Smith & Wesson more as far as changing the ergonomics and the feel of the gun in my hand. And I think that's just a bit more impactful to me versus the backstrap system of the Glock. Now, granted, one thing I do love about the Glock is that they give you a nice cleaning kit that, you know, with the gun and a little mag loader that's, you know, it's cool. They give, it's something extra, you know. I'm pretty sure most people don't use it, but at least they give it to you, right? But all in all, as far as utility, these work better for me. Therefore, the point in the accessories is going to go to the M&P 10mm. Next, we're going to talk about ammo capacity out of the box. And it basically goes a little something like this. How many rounds can the gun hold from the factory when you add up all the magazines that come with the gun? Now, each gun comes with a 15-round magazine, right? But whereas the SIG and the M&P come with two 15-round magazines, the Glock Gen 5 comes with 3 from the gate. So it's just simple by the numbers. 3 magazines versus 2. So therefore, the winner of the point in this category goes to the Glock Gen 5. Okay, so now we're going to talk about ergonomics. And out of the 3 guns, honestly, the ergonomics goes to the M&P 10mm. Why? Well, remember when I mentioned about the wraparound grip panels here? That's one of the biggest reasons why it really just fills out my hands very well. Now, in addition to that, the Smith & Wesson texture. Now, this texture is pretty aggressive. It's pretty aggressive. It's not M&P 1.0 aggressive where it'll make your skin bleed, but it's really good at, you know, helping you to maintain a positive shooting grip on the gun. Plus the shape of the grip, you know, the natural angle, which is very similar to that of a 1911, allows for you to really point and hold this gun properly. That's why I really like it. Now, a couple other things too. This is the external safety model. As of the recording of this video, the Performance Center version is only available with the external safety. Now, the good thing about that is you can ride the safety, give yourself that extra point of contact, so that way when you're shooting, you can use it as a recoil control device, kind of like a 1911. So I like that a lot. Like, a lot of people might complain about the external safety. Some people remove it. For me, I'm good with it because it's another point of contact, and the more points of contact that you can get, the more accurate that you can be with the gun. And the thing is already ported. But anyway, that's why this gun wins in the ergonomics category for me. The X10 is not bad in the ergonomics department. However, the grip up here is a little bit on the slim side for me. This is the medium grip module, and of course, as we all know, the P320 series is a modular gun, and you can swap out this grip module with a smaller one or a larger one, whatever the case may be, which is all well and good and fine. But from the factory out of the box, this is what you got, and this is all you got. So, like I said, it works for me. The X-shaped grip is nice, is good, but the M&P is just better. Now, also, the texture for the SIG is also pretty good too. You know, it has good texture all the way around. This part is kind of smooth, and this is where it fails to me a little bit, because when I'm when I'm holding the gun and I'm, you know, with my thumbs forward, I like a thumbs forward grip. I'm sorry, sue me. When I'm holding the gun, my thumb tends to land like right here. Sometimes I could put it backward, you know, back it up a little bit and put it on the takedown lever, which does help a bit. But I mean, honestly, like, it's cool. Like, I can get the job done with that. But this is just better to me. The Glock is, well, a Glock. What can I say? The ergonomics for this gun, at least in my hands, is not as bad as I thought it would be, if I'm honest. You know, I mean, everybody is familiar with the Glock ergonomics, but because this gun is so big, relatively speaking, like, it fits my hands very well. You know, some people will complain about it, where me, I'm cool with it. Now, that being said, if you have smaller frame hands, this might not necessarily be the gun for you, because this is a big grip. Even when this is not installed, this grip is kind of big. And then, of course, we got this thick trigger guard, so Glock knuckle, which is kind of a thing. It's still a thing. I put it like that. It's still a bit of a thing, but because this is a larger gun, it's not as bad as, say, my Glock 19 as far as the Glock knuckle goes. But all in all, ergonomics point goes to the M&P 10mm Performance Center. All right, next we're going to talk about portability. So portability is simply measured by the weight of the gun, how easy or how difficult it is to port it around or carry it around all day long. So for that, I typically go by the weight of the gun, and unfortunately I don't have a scale, but the weight of each gun is as follows per the manufacturer. The SIG X10 weighs in at 33 ounces. The M&P 10mm Performance Center clocks in at 31.4 ounces. And the Glock Gen 5 is the big one, the big one out of the group, at 38.8 ounces. So just going by the numbers and how each one feels in my hand, both loaded and unloaded, that category, that point for portability has to go to the M&P 10mm Performance Center. Now, when we're talking about concealability, the loser is easily the 10mm Performance Center from M&P. So it basically just comes down to the SIG and the Glock, and quite frankly, both guns actually conceal about the same on my person. I have carried both guns concealed, and you know, from my clothes and fitment and all that, I haven't really noticed a difference, a clear difference between the two. So since the M&P is out in this category and there's no clear winner between the SIG and the Glock, I got to give the point to both the SIG and the Glock in that category. Next, we're going to talk about shootability and reliability. So I had to do the shootability part a little bit differently this time because we're doing 3 guns. And actually, this is a reshoot because I started this with just the SIG X10 and the M&P 10mm Performance Center. But essentially, what I did was I put a target out at 5 yards and simply just to see how many hits that I could get. And I believe it's about 4 or 5 inch circle, and just to see how tight the groups are. And each gun shot 1 mag and 1 mag only. And overall, while the groups are relatively tight on the X10 and the M&P, they are the tightest of the two. The M&P is the tightest out of all of them together. I mean, you can look and see just on the end result, based on, you know, just the end result of that test, how tight the groupings are on the M&P. There's a lot of keyholing going on there. The SIG X10 came second and the Glock came in third. Unfortunately, I had a few flyers on that one. But anyway, long story short, shootability point goes to the M&P 10mm Performance Center. Now, when we're talking about the reliability, off the rip, the M&P 10mm Performance Center is the clear loser in that category. So if you guys have been following my video series talking about the M&P 10mm Performance Center, you know that during my initial 900 rounds of testing, I had 9 failures to feed. And I have gone as far as changing the recoil spring in this gun twice, still having some issues as the gun gets dirty. And my next step is going to be looking for some aftermarket recoil springs for the magazines to deal with that issue. But the long and the short of it is reliability, it's just been a fail, period. Now, in regards to the SIG, since I've had the SIG, I haven't had any reliability issues with the SIG whatsoever. I mean, none, zero, zip, zilch, nada. And I've also run 40 Smith & Wesson through the X10 on a number of occasions, and I didn't have any failures to feed or any stoppages or any malfunctions out of that gun. So, and that brings us over to the Glock. And well, this particular gun, it's been reliable. I had one hiccup at first, and that was only because it was still being broken in. Like the recoil spring was a bit stiff, and I underestimated it. So I really don't fault the gun for that, and it's still within the break-in period. So frankly, when it comes to the reliability, the M&P is out of the picture, and the Glock and the SIG both get the points for the reliability category. Okay, now we're going to talk about the disassembly for maintenance. And the disassembly for maintenance between the SIG and the M&P is basically similar, almost identical, because they both use takedown lever system, as you can see here and here. You know, bring the slide back, rotate the takedown lever down, bring the slide home, pull the trigger, remove the slide. You don't have to pull the trigger on the M&P. You can rotate the sear disconnect tool down with the additional tool that's located here on the back strap if you want to, but it's not required. And, you know, it's essentially the same process minus the sear disconnect tool for the X10. Now, with the Glock, of course, you got the takedown button here, and everybody knows how to disassemble a Glock. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I still feel like the takedown system of these two guns are superior to the Glock because you have the lever here. Anybody that's had a Glock for a while knows if you get junk, crap, or anything like that, or if these buttons get damaged or rubbed off or whatever the case may be, or if they seize up, you're going to have a hell of a time trying to bring that down in order to field strip this gun. Where these, while it'll be a lot easier if something should happen, whether something gets underneath of it, whether, you know, whatever, it seizes up, whatever the case may be. Worst case, you could use a tool to rotate that down. This is going to be a lot harder. So the Gen 5 Glock doesn't get a point awarded for the disassembly for maintenance category, and these two get a point because they're essentially a tie. Okay, now we're going to talk about aftermarket support. Now, all three of these guns are very well represented in the aftermarket. They come from reputable manufacturers. The guns have been around for quite some time, and these platforms are used by both military and law enforcement alike. However, let's not kid ourselves here. The daggone Glock wins in the aftermarket category because you look anywhere, any gun shop, online, in person, it doesn't matter. You will find accessories from this thing from now until the end of freaking time. Period, point blank, end of story. Not saying that you won't find them for either one of these two, but the Glock everybody loves Glock, period. So you're going to find stuff for the Glock all day long. Sights, everything, just everything. Replacement barrels or whatever. M&P will come in second in that as far as aftermarket support, while the SIG would be third. But we're not doing first, second, thirds here. We're doing point system. But I just wanted to give y'all my opinion on the aftermarket support. Glock first, M&P second, SIG third. But these two are the clear losers, and the Glock is the clear winner in terms of aftermarket support. All right, so now we're going to talk about the MSRP. So now here's an interesting one. The MSRP for the SIG X10 is hovering around $799, whereas the MSRP for the M&P 10mm Performance Center is $749. And the Glock comes in the cheapest out of the three at $652.99, just based on my research. Now, of course, again, each particular gun will cost more or less depending on your area, where you find them, availability, whether they're new or used or whatever. But those are the numbers based on my research so far. So, I mean, obviously, if you're going by the MSRP, you're going to go with the one that's the cheapest out of the three. And there it is, Glock Gen 5. So the Glock Gen 5 gets the point in the MSRP category. That being said, let's talk about the value for the money. So this is a bit of an interesting one because, honestly, if the M&P 10mm Performance Center was more reliable, I would say the value point would go to the M&P 10mm Performance Center. And my reasoning for that is you're getting, out of these three, you're getting the best sights. You're getting suppressor height night sights. You got a 5.6-inch ported barrel and slide. You got a Performance Center trigger, which is really good. You have great ergonomics. You have excellent features. And price-wise, even though it's kind of middle of the road between these three, what you're getting, all these Performance Center enhancements, honestly, I think that's that would be considered a deal if the gun was more reliable. So, granted, that's a different category, but at the same time, when you're talking about value add for your money, I have to knock it for that. I'm sorry. As much as I really like the Performance Center, I have to knock it for that. So, as far as the SIG goes, in my opinion, SIG prices, their guns are overpriced. I've felt that way for years. I'm sure people will love to jump into the comment section and argue with me about that. Feel free. I don't really care. That's not to say that SIG doesn't make good guns. I mean, they do make some good guns. I've just always felt that they were a bit overpriced. That's just my opinion. Now, even so, this gun is just south of $800. And what are you getting for that $800? Well, it's optics ready. You're getting decent sights. They're night sights. You got a fairly decent trigger. The trigger is decent on that. I'll just ghost it really quick for y'all just to show you. They're flat face trigger, so it's not bad. It's okay. Ambidextrous controls, but I mean, honestly, if the Glock had better sights, if you really think about it, if the Glock had night sight versus the SIG, what would be the better buy? In my opinion, it would be the Glock, honestly. Don't get me wrong, I like the SIG, but if they were equal price, well, not even equal price, if the Glock had night sights, I would pick the Glock over the SIG. in that category. So, but long story short, there's really no clear winner here in terms of value for the money. So I'm just going to call this a wash across the board. So neither gun will get a point in that category. So now, just to recap, in terms of features, the M&P 10mm Performance Center gets the point in features and accessories. The Glock Gen 5 gets the point for ammo capacity out of the box. The point for ergonomics goes to the M&P 10mm Performance Center. The point for portability goes to the 10mm Performance Center from the M&P. While the point for concealability, it's a tie between the SIG X10 and the Glock Gen 5. Now, as far as the shootability category, the M&P 10mm gets the point for that category, while reliability is a tie between the SIG X10 and the Glock Gen 5. Disassembly for maintenance, the SIG X10 and the M&P 10mm tie, and they each get a point in that category, while the Gen 5 Glock does not. Aftermarket support, the Glock is the clear winner in that category, so it gets the point. For the MSRP, the Glock Gen 5 is also the clear winner. And as far as the value for the dollar, it is a tie all across the board, so therefore no gun gets awarded a point in that category. For a grand total of 3 points for the SIG X10, 6 points for the M&P 10mm Performance Center, and 5 points for the Glock 20 Gen 5, making the winner, surprisingly, the M&P 10mm Performance Center. All right, y'all, so there it is. The winner of this three-way versus battle is the Smith & Wesson M&P 10mm Performance Center. Now, why did I say it was surprising? Honestly, because of the reliability issues that I had with the gun. But even all that stuff aside, I really do like that gun, like I said before. I really like it. Between the ergonomics, the feature set that you get, the sights, everything, how it feels in the hand, how it handles the 10mm the 10mm cartridge under recoil. It's all really good. Like, all of those features, to me, it's just it elevates it above the Glock and the SIG. Now, don't get me wrong, I like those two guns as well, but the M&P just won it for me, and it only really fails in that one category. Now, I do understand that, for a tool such as this, that is a very important category, and I totally get it. I totally get it. That's kind of the reason why I do my scoring the way that I do it, because I want all of us to consider all of the bases, right? All the different things. Now, granted, yes, again, I know if it's not going to be bomb-proof reliable when you need it to be, most people aren't going to touch it. And I completely agree. I feel you on that. Now, when you're talking about a good, reliable gun, one that you could customize to your liking, that's the Glock Gen 5. I mean, like I said, Glock has the aftermarket support. You could get just about anything you could think of for a damn Glock. So, you could save money, get the Glock Gen 5, and put sights on it, put a red dot on it. You could silicone carbide the grip up to give you some more texture, or do your own stippling, whatever, put an apex trigger in, whatever the hell you want to do for a Glock, you can do that to a Glock and tune it to your liking. So ultimately, the decision is up to you as far as what you want to get, what you want to get. As far as bear defense, concealed carry, home defense, whatever the case may be. But anyway, with all that being said, I'm going to end this video here. If you like this video, please let me know by smashing the like button, smashing the like button, leaving a comment down below, share this video to all your friends or whomever. And I definitely thank you guys and gals for the love and the support, for watching the videos, commenting the videos, whether you like them or not. It really helps the channel, and I definitely do appreciate it. So, but anyway, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. This is your big homie, and I'm out. Peace.